Hi, wine friends, and happy Wine Wednesday. If you are new, I'm Allie from A Glass After Work. Thanks for joining. So, today I wanted to share with you some wines that I received as a sample from Yarden Wines. I'm a little behind in getting my wines for Passover from kosherwine.com. So when the Yarden folks reached out to say that they were sending out samples, I jumped at the opportunity to try what they were sending out this year. So a couple years ago, I did a YouTube video with Swirl Sweet talking about what makes a wine kosher, and we tasted a couple of wines at that point that were kosher wines. And we're actually going to do another collab in a couple weeks. I will be sure to let you know the date in the information below so that you can join. And I'm not going to go over that today because that's going to happen in a couple weeks. But I did want to point out that these are wines that are kosher and they're kosher for Passover. So the K right there says it's kosher, and the P is kosher for Passover. So all of these wines are kosher for Passover. So two of them are coming from the Golan Heights winery in Israel, and the other two are coming from the Gilgal Mountain winery. The Golan Heights winery is one of Yarden's wineries, and they actually produce 4 different brands out of there. One is the Yarden brand, which is this one. So we're going to be drinking a Yarden Gewürztraminer. We also do the Golan Heights Winery brand out of there, which makes sense because it's the Golan Heights Winery. Do a Gilgal brand, and we're going to taste one of those wines. And then they do a Mount Hermon brand, and I don't have one of those. And I've actually never tasted one of those, so I can't give you any feedback on that one. But those are the 4 wine brands that come out of the Golan Heights. And the Golan Heights it's kind of like Bordeaux or growing wine in Chile, where they've got pretty much perfect weather for wine growing. And so you get some beautiful, beautiful wines. It's like, it's exactly what you want in a wine country. So this Gewürztraminer is coming from there. It's a Yarden brand. And look at that color. It's nice and clear. I would say it's like a light to medium golden color. Oh, and the nose. Whew. So I would say there's some apples, some grapefruit. I would say some like orange zest happening in there. And definitely the spice, like the nutmeg kind of spiciness that happens with a Gewürztraminer. It kind of just gets up and tickles your nose a little bit. All right, why don't we give it a taste? Cheers. Oh, that's really nice. So this is considered a semi-dry wine, so there's a little bit of sweetness to it, but it's not a sweet wine. Just a little bit of sweetness. So it would be perfect for starting off your Passover Seder. If you want to put it with some gefilte fish, I won't eat gefilte fish. I don't serve gefilte fish. I find it disgusting, but it probably would go really well with the gefilte fish. Probably would go really well with matzo balls if you've got some matzo balls. Definitely would be a nice cheese wine. Also thinking outside of Passover, the PR materials recommended putting it with red lentil, like a red lentil type dish. And I have a recipe for red lentil dal that we absolutely love. And I think this would be beautiful with that. So I probably will think about, since I have this, I'll probably think about making some of that so that we can pair it with it to finish up the bottle. The PR material said that this is a suggested retail price of $22. I will say I did find it on kosherwine.com for $17. $17, like fantastic. Like this is a great wine for $17. Also on Vivino, they have over 800 reviews on this wine, which I was really surprised about. That is a lot of reviews. Just a lot of reviews for a kosher wine, much less any wine. And it had 4 stars in terms of reviews, and Vivino reviewers can be really picky. So I was really impressed to see that. All right, let's take a look at the next wine. I'm going to do just a little bit of swirl to rinse that glass out. All right. This is the Gilgal Syrah, and I think this is a fun label, right? It's not super serious. It's 100% Syrah. Like I said, it's made from grapes at the Golan Heights Winery. And this wine is a suggested retail price of $16. At kosherwine.com, I couldn't find this vintage available, but they did have the 2013 vintage. Now, vintages can be very different, so I can't speak to what the 2013 vintage is like, but they did have that there. Let's take a look. All right, so this is a pretty dark, clear ruby color. And it's interesting. It's got a little bit of an oily texture, I would say like black olives, but you know how black olives are very often in some like olive oil, and it feels very much like that kind of characteristic to me, kind of like a black olives with like a olive oil around it. Also getting some dark plums on here. This is a very dark, very kind of rich, earthy feel to it. All right, why don't we give it a taste? Cheers. So that's very nice. Similar characteristics in the mouth as to what I was getting on the nose. Dark fruits, lots of blackberry, lots of plums, mixed with the black olive and olive oil, those type of notes. So I would say that there's kind of medium tannins here, medium body, medium tannins. It's definitely well integrated, but it's not overwhelming in my mouth. I think at $16, this is a great everyday wine. So these next two wines are both Bordeaux style blends. They're actually coming from the other winery that Yarden owns, the Gilgal Mountain Winery. And that winery is actually in Galilee. So here's the label. So I feel like this is a really nice, really pretty label. So this is a 2014 red wine, and it's a blend of 64% Cabernet Sauvignon, 15% Syrah, 12% Merlot, 5% Petit Verdot, and 4% Cabernet Franc. The bottle says that it has 5 to 7 years from time of harvest, so 2014. So it's pretty much ready to drink now, but you could also hold it for another 2 years and have it still pretty much be in its prime. This wine is a suggested retail price of $23, but I will say I found it on kosherwine.com for $19. And you guys know, if you watch my channel, you know how I feel about that $20 mark. There's something about going over $20 that I just expect a lot more from a wine. So let's see how this one holds up. All right, so this wine has a pretty dark ruby color going on. Oh, that is a really pretty nose. So I would say there's a little bit of floral happening. And a nice mix of red and dark fruit. So I'm definitely getting some raspberries, but I'm also getting some blackberries. Oh, that is really, really nice. There's definitely also a little bit of cedar happening, so it's spent a little time in oak. All right, let's give it a taste. Cheers. Ooh. All right, so we've definitely stepped it up a notch from the Gilgal. This definitely has more of a mouthfeel. I've got a lot more happening in terms of just in terms of the weight. It's definitely more in the medium full body, much more velvety tannins. I'm definitely feeling them. My mouth is coated a little. But it is beautiful. It's well integrated. So I'm getting some really nice fruit flavors mixed with some of those other characteristics. So still getting the raspberries, definitely still getting some of the cherries and some of the blackberries. Also getting a little bit of cinnamon. So it's got a nice little bit, you know how cinnamon isn't really sweet, but it's got that nice little kick to it. So there's definitely some of that mixed with the cedar going on from the wood. So this is a really nice wine. I will say at $19, this is an amazing wine. At $23, this is still a really good wine. $23 isn't usually in my everyday category. $19 is. For $19, this is amazing. I think I said that already. So I think this is definitely a wine going into the Passover holiday. If you're looking for something that's a little bigger, but it's going to be something that people are going to want to drink, I think you could do really well with getting a few bottles of this without breaking the bank. People are going to love it. This is delicious, but you could also then use this as kind of your everyday wine. I think this is a wine to seek out, whether or not you're looking kosher or not kosher. This is just downright good. All right, one more. So this last one, also Gilgal Mountain. This is the Huron. All right, and so this 2015 Huron is 47% Cabernet Sauvignon, 40% Merlot, 8% Petit Verdot, and 5% Cabernet Franc. All right, so this wine is going to be the most expensive of the wines. So this is a suggested retail price of $35. It is sold out on kosherwine.com. You could find it there when it was available. It was available for about $28, but there are none left. On wine.com, you can find it. They're selling it for $34, so they're selling it in the general suggested retail price range. But my guess is that people are going to go from kosherwine.com to regularwine.com. And so if you want to grab this wine, I highly recommend you do it quickly. So let's take a look. All right, so you can see that this is the darkest of the wines. I would say it is a deep, it's a deep ruby. It's got a little tint of garnet happening on it. And I will say initially I thought it was more purple than it is, but I actually think this is showing a little bit of aging. All right, that is so nice. So it is definitely showing at 16 months in oak, because I am getting that vanilla. I am getting that cedary note. I'm getting some really, really nice blackberry flavors. Oh. Interestingly, I'm also getting a little bit of I wouldn't say some thyme and some rosemary, but more like if you're putting dried spices into a mix like that. It's definitely like kind of the dried herbs. Oh, that's really nice. I would also say that there's a little bit of cloves and a little bit of plum happening. All right, then we give it a taste. Cheers. Whew, that is a lot. There is some good tannins. They're nice and supple. You could really feel what's happening, but they're well integrated with the rest of the wine. Say in that medium to full body range. The characteristics are very, very similar to what we were getting on the nose. You've got the plums and the blackberries. Definitely getting those dried herbs again, mixed with some cloves and some earthiness. This is the wine you're going to want to end the night with. It is going to blow everyone away. For $35, this is a fantastic wine. I would have said it cost more than that. To be honest, I'm surprised it doesn't, especially because it's a kosher wine. Usually they just jack up the prices simply because it's kosher. I don't feel like they did that. I feel like they priced this $35 at what would be a great wine regardless of whether or not it's kosher. So if you're looking for a good wine, particularly if you're looking for a good kosher wine, because it's very hard to find them affordably, I absolutely think this is one to search out. I'm really enjoying this wine. So I would love to know, have you had non-Manischewitz kosher wine before? And if so, what did you think? Was it something that you would drink on a regular basis, or would it be the type of thing you're only drinking if you're looking for kosher wines? And if you remember what it was and you enjoyed it, I'd love to know what that was too, just so I can go and try it myself. I'm always looking for good new kosher wines. And I think that is everything I have. So if you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate those. If you aren't already a subscriber, you can do that by clicking on the icon right here or on the subscribe button down below. But don't forget, also click on the bell because it'll let you know when I upload a new video, which is going to be every Wine Wednesday. And if you're looking for a recommendation, you can find one right there. Thanks for joining and happy Wine Wednesday. Cheers!